President Obama was back out on the road today campaigning for Democrats.
But the president got a political backstab from more than 3 dozen of his Democrats in the House. They joined with Republicans to make clear they oppose the Obama plan to raise taxes on well-off Americans. Steve Handelsman has the story.
Alan, thanks. Good afternoon. Ending these tax cuts is a signature Obama issue, but in a sign of how tough it's become for members of his party in this election year. Democrats in difficult races today took the opposite side.
How are you? Thank you so much.
President Obama got the embarrassing news in Iowa, where his rocket ride to the White House began in '08. To help balance the budget, he promised then and vows now to end the Bush-era tax cuts on the richest Americans.
Have a $700 billion tax cut that affects only 2% of the population. You just can't do it.
But back in Washington, a backstab. Democrats, lacking the votes to win, moved to adjourn.
On this vote, the yeas are 210, the nays are 209.
Just a one-vote win, 39 Democrats joined Republicans to oppose more taxes on the rich.
The American people know that raising taxes on job creators won't create jobs. That's why it's unbelievable that Democrats would adjourn this Congress without an up or down vote on extending all the current tax relief.
The Crane Conservation Act.
In the democratically controlled Senate,
I object.
Gridlock.
I ask unanimous consent that we move now to calendar number 154.
On even routine bills.
Mr. President, I object.
And on the big stuff, tax cuts, more delay.
We've just punted on the extension of the tax cuts or an Obama tax increase.
Can the president win a tax hike on the rich after Congress comes back in November? Maybe not. Barack Obama's problems controlling Congress seem sure to intensify. From Capitol Hill, I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC 24 Action News. Alan, Kira, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. Intelligence officials in Europe say they have intercepted a credible terror plot against Britain, Germany, and France. European security officials say the plot was not to be by suicide bombing, but a combat-style shooting rampage. All 3 countries say that the plot is still a threat and that authorities are monitoring sites in Pakistan where the threat originated. Intelligence agents intercepted the threat 2 weeks ago. European officials have warned of an increased possibility in low-budget attacks that require relatively little planning.
An international company with a training facility in the North State is teaching a different type of recruit, the 4-legged kind. Action News reporter Britt Carlson joins us now with more on the drills and the types of missions these dogs are being trained for. Britt?
Alan, dogs like the ones I watched today go on to join the military or U.S. law enforcement agencies. Bomb-sniffing dogs trained by Vigilant Canine Services International have saved countless lives in Afghanistan, while others help with drug raids and search and rescue efforts on the home front. It all starts with the training I saw today.
Good boy. That's a good boy.
Intensive training begins for the potentially extreme missions ahead. These dogs are being tested on how well they can detect bombs, drugs, human remains, and on their attack skills.
These dogs that we're currently training with today will be dogs that will be placed with local police agencies around California.
Dogs like Brando here are just rookies, but they're being tested to see if they're even capable of becoming police dogs. If they pass, they could be in a police training program by next week.
We do some initial training with them just to make sure that they have the behavioral traits that is necessary. Then we'll place them with a handler. They'll be with the handler for 30 days to bond, and then we'll actually start that 5-week training process with each handler.
Since the launch of Vigilant Canine Services in 2007, the program has sent numerous training dogs to Afghanistan. The service dogs are stationed at military-based checkpoints with the sole mission of checking for bombs.
We've had numerous successes internationally. 4 of our handlers in Afghanistan were awarded a base security commendation for their work in Afghanistan at one of the headquarter bases.
With his international success, Buck Dyke's company recently went local. As a retired canine handler out of Anderson, he received a lot of requests for law enforcement dogs.
Especially in our economy, where police officers are being cut from departments, a good canine trained properly can be very valuable.
The training is designed to be fun for the dogs with a simple reward.
When she finds that odor and does her final on it when she sits, then I reward her with her her special Kong ball.
It's enjoyable for the trainers too, even Dusty, who acts as a human chew toy.
Their mission is to get me on the ground. We make a point of me going over and making buddies with them so that they don't see me as the enemy.
Whether the service dogs are working abroad or domestically, they serve an important role as an officer and a friend. In fact, many of the dogs serving in Afghanistan are a big morale boost for the troops. When they eventually retire, most are brought back to the U.S. to live with their handlers. For Action News, I'm Britt Carlson.
Thank you, Britt, for that report. California has called off this week's scheduled execution following setbacks in both federal and state courts. The Attorney General's office said in a court filing today that it can no longer try to proceed with the lethal injection of Albert Brown Thursday night. It would have been California's first execution since 2006. The announcement comes a day after a federal judge blocked the execution, saying he needed more time to evaluate the newly adopted lethal injection procedures. The state tried to appeal that decision, but after another unfavorable ruling by the California Supreme Court, it conceded that the execution cannot happen now. Governor Schwarzenegger approved a measure allowing severely ill or incapacitated inmates to be released on supervised parole if they require constant medical care and are not considered threats. The new law would not apply to offenders sentenced to death or life without the possibility of parole. The governor says it will save the state about $200 million in annual prison health care costs without compromising public safety.
Governor Schwarzenegger also signed legislation guaranteeing community college graduates admission to the CSU system. The Student Transfer Achievement Reform Act allows students who earn an associate's degree at one of California's two-year colleges to complete a bachelor's degree at a Cal State campus with an additional 60 credits. It takes effect in the fall of 2011. CSU and community college officials believe the change will help save millions of dollars by making the transfer process more efficient. The governor also signed a companion bill that calls on the UC system to develop a similar transfer system. The governor also signed a bill aimed at quieting those ear-splitting roars of modified choppers. The new law targets motorcyclists who remove federally mandated factory-installed emission control devices and replace them with custom aftermarket parts. Those modifications often make bikes louder and increase pollution. Under the law, first-time violators will be fined up to $100.
PG&E is holding a smart meter answer center at its Chico office to answer customer questions about smart meters and their bills. The answer center will be held at 350 Salem Street on 2 Wednesdays, October 6th and October 13th from noon to 5 p.m. PG&E representatives say the center is aimed at providing customers with more information about their energy usage and more rate options to help them reduce their energy use and bills. For more information about PG&E's Smart Meter program and Answer Center, you can log on to our website, knvn.com, and click on News Links.
Well, it's time now for the Pet of the Week. Tonight we have this adorable 10-week-old Australian Shepherd mix. He has his first puppy shots and lots of personality. If you'd like to take him home, give the Shasta County Animal Control Shelter a call at 245-6065.
Up next, help for struggling homeowners.
I'm Stacy Johnson. Did you know that 1 in 4 Americans is underwater? They owe more than their home is worth. But there may be help on the horizon. If you're underwater, you need to see what's coming up on Money Talks News.
Well, by being underwater, but a little swimming sounds nice right around now. It's hot out there. I'll come back in a bit. We'll talk about a big cool down in the forecast when Action News returns.